Poštovani gledatelji, dobar dan. U potrazi za inspirativnim ljudima ovaj put naša ekipa se uputila prema jugu do Orebića na jedan izuzetan koncert. I to jednog od najvećih i najmarkantnijih tenora današnjice, ujedno skladatelja i vrhunskog dirigenta. Gost emisije u svom filmu je maestro Jose Cura. Maestro, dobar dan, dobrodošli.
Dobar dan, Tomčica.
Hvala vam kako ste lijepo zapamtili moje ime. Evo, kako se osjećate u Orebiću, u Hrvatskoj?
Well, how do you feel when you are walking 24 hours a day in a paradise? I mean, it's an incredible place to be. It's the first time I'm here, and everybody said to me when 2 days ago, you will see, you will get there, and you will not believe where you are, and it's true. It's incredible. The colors, the people, the temperature is perfect. It's not hot, it's not cold.
Nastupate kao tenor na inauguracijskom koncertu festivala grada Kapetana. Ovo je grad pomoraca Kapetana. Kako se rodila ta ideja da budete dio tog projekta?
Well, the idea of the festival is born primarily by my partner, Sandra Milankov, whose parents live. They have a house here in the hills for the last 25 years, I think, more or less. And she always dreamt about having these kind of activities, cultural activities. Sandra is also an opera agent, opera manager, etc. And she's a very good friend of the mayor of Orebić, Tomijancic. So they talked together, they planned, they had this idea, and then she said, I will speak with Jose and we'll see if he's happy with this idea, if he wants to be on board of this beautiful project. In the summer festivals you can put together great atmosphere, beautiful contact with the people, and also do good music. So it's a beautiful challenge in a beautiful place, and we are already working for it.
Zvuči jako uzbudljivo, veselimo se godinama koje dolaze, nadamo se da neće biti više tog covida u sljedećim godinama, pa ćemo zaista uživati u vašoj kreativnosti. Interesantno je da ste vi završili dirigiranje i kompoziciju, pa ste tek kasnije počeli pjevati. Kako je to bilo? Kako je moguće da jedan takav glas, ja sam evo slušala te vaše arije, vaše izvedbe, to je toliko predivno da je tek tamo u kasnim 20. godinama zapravo krenuo s pjevanjem.
Well, you know, life. There's a great phrase from John Lennon. He said, life is what happens to you when you are very busy trying to find out what to do with your life. Okay. You know, more or less, I don't know the exact phrasing of the phrase, but it's true. We want to go there and do this and do that and do that, and then life takes you to other places. I never in my life ever was going to think one day I was going to be sitting here with this beautiful landscape behind, in front of you, having a conversation. I mean, this is nothing that was ever planned until 1 month ago. So, you know, life takes you what it takes you, and you just need to be open and intelligent enough to read the signals along the road and to take the proper road. And if you do a mistake in that road, just step back and change the road. So far I have been very lucky because all steps in my career has been done very wisely and analyzed, and no rush, no pressure. And this is another step, a great step, what we're doing here. And well, I discovered I discovered my voice. I discovered my voice when I was a kid. But yes. I decided to be a professional singer. To be a professional singer, which is not the same thing, you know. One thing is to play football on Sundays with your friends. Another thing is to be Ronaldo or Messi. Yes. It's another conversation, yes. Of course. And yes, my studies, my professional training is composer and conductor. So it's not that now that I'm a famous tenor or a famous whatever word for what the word famous could value, but nowadays. But now that I'm famous, all of a sudden I start to conduct or to direct. No, there's nothing to do like that. This was my real profession, to be a conductor and a composer. And one day somebody said to me, but you realize the voice you have. I said, yes, but I'm not interested in singing. And he said to me, well, he gave me a great advice. He was the director of the conservatory And he said, okay, here's the thing, he said, learn how to sing. If you don't want to become a singer, don't become a singer, but learn how to sing, because that will make of you a better conductor and a better composer. So, okay, deal. Then I started to learn how to sing, just because of that advice.
Yeah.
And one day, then we had problems in Argentina, the military regime, the orchestras were not doing very good, the choir where I was working was dissolved, etc., etc. So the things got complicated, and all of a sudden, knowing how to sing was a safest way to earn my living and to have a family.
Yes.
So, because when you're a conductor or a composer, you don't have an orchestra, you cannot do anything. But if you're a singer, you can always manage. And I remember when I was young, I was singing in commercial centers with the hat in the floor for the coin, for example. And I am very, very proud of that, because when you know life from the ground, you have a complete different perspective. When you become a star, you're not in the clouds. You're just really grounded, and that makes a hell of a difference.
Međutim, interesantno je, kad ste počeli pjevati, postali ste gotovo preko noći zvijezda kad ste nastupili u Skali, došli u Italiju. Kako tumačite da je interpretacija izvođača više na cijeni nego recimo genijalnost kompozitora ili virtuoznost dirigenta? Je li zato što je glas u stvari najljepši instrument?
But to begin with, I didn't become an artist overnight because I finally managed to be recognized as an upcoming star when I was 31, 32, and I began my studies when I was 12. So that's 18 years after. So
yes.
that's not overnight.
Yes.
But in the world of the show business, to which you also belong, we think that somebody who was unknown the day before,
yes,
and known the day after, it's overnight.
It's overnight, yes.
Yeah, but before that, there's a lot of work.
Yes.
If not, you don't survive. You know very well. In this business, if you are not strongly trained, you don't survive. And this is one of the problems of the young people today. Unfortunately, we have a lot of young talent, but they became famous before becoming good. And they don't resist the pressure, because the pressure is big.
Yes.
But, well, back to your question, this is a phenomena, and I think as a composer I understand this phenomena more now. The fact that sometimes, even in the affiche, the name of the singer and the name of the conductor is bigger than the name of the composer. And you go, why? Well, it's part of the business, it's part of the circus of the business also, no? To have these differences. And it's true, when you are on stage, the people don't think, unless you're a specialist public, and we have, but the average public doesn't think, oh, this piece has been written by, in these conditions, etc. They just look at the performer and they get seduced by the performer. And some people, you read in internet or you read a newspaper and say, oh, Cura's Nessun Dorma. No, Nessun Dorma is Puccini's piece. It's not Cura's.
Ali pamtimo interpretaciju Josea Cure.
But Nessun Dorma by Giacomo Puccini, interpreted by Jose Cura. That's too long, so they write Cura's Nessun Dorma, but it's not right, of course.
Ali ta emocija koju ipak pjevač iznese je zaista nešto posebno. Upravo ta ideja, recimo mene onako intrigira, da je taj ljudski glas, ja nisam naravno znalac kao vi, samo uživam u glazbi, da je ljudski glas ipak najljepši od svih instrumenta. Jel bi se složili s tim?
Well, I fully agree. First of all, because it's my instrument, and so I will not be against my own interest. But it's true also. It's true because is the only instrument that is, the body is the instrument. It's not external. It's not a beautiful piece of wood. It's flesh. It's this.
Yes.
So we are both crossing legs in the same way. Your legs are much more beautiful than mine. But,
thank you.
but you know, the instrument is our body. It's here. It's flesh. It's blood. Is emotions. If you don't feel good, the voice doesn't sound good. If you're a woman and you have your period, then the voice is not the same that if you don't have it. If you have an emotional problem, you have a fight with your wife or with your friend or with your father, everything transmits. It's a very delicate and complicated instrument, the voice. And also is that instrument with which everybody relates. Because not everybody can play the piano, not everybody can play the violin, but everybody, even in a horrible way, can produce something with the mouth.
Da, can sing.
And then there's an immediate connection between the singer and the public because of that human natural thing, and it's phenomenal.
Da, jako ste lijepo to objasnili. Zaista onako lijepo, jedan esej o ljudskom glasu i kako on djeluje, kako se stvara. Evo, predlažem da pogledamo kratki video, vaš kurikulum vitae, pa ćemo nastaviti razgovor.
Super.
Maestra Josea Curu sam upoznala prije 3 godine u Pragu na produkciji Nabuka. On je u tom prilikom bio redatelj predstave. Ja sam pjevala glavnu žensku ulogu i moram reći da sam imala tremu kad sam došla prvi put, obzirom da se radi o tenoru svjetske slave koji je zapravo svestran jedan umjetnik, nije samo pjevač. Dirigent je, prije svega je dirigent, prvo je dirigiranje završio, znači dirigent prvo pa pjevač, u predstavi bio i scenograf i redatelj i njegov hobi je fotografija.
Jose Curu sam upoznala pre par godina u Pragu, kad je moja prijateljica Kristina Kolar, sopran, pevala Abigailu u produkciji Nabuko, a Jose je radio režiju. I tom prilikom smo se upoznali i počeli smo da surađujemo, jer ja imam opernu agenturu i od tada ja njega zastupam i počeli smo da radimo skupa.
Moram reći da je u poslu jako strog. Dakle, privatno sa svima super, odlično. Međutim, kad se radi, zahtijeva jako visoku profesionalnost. Jednostavno ne dozvoljava da ljenčarenje, ne dozvoljava, što se kaže, švercanje, razumijete? I tu je bilo situacije u kojima se znao i naljutiti, pa obzirom da ja nisam bila ta i nisam ga uspjela nikad naljutiti, moram priznati da sam se i trudila stvarno da sve bude na visokom umjetničkom nivou.
Jose Cura je poseban umetnik zato što radi mnoge stvari i sve što radi je perfektno. Ne samo što peva, što je jedan od najboljih tenora sadašnjice, nego što i vodi režiju izvanredno. Nabuko u Pragu, to je bila senzacija, ili Peter Grimes u Bonu, to je bilo kao da gledate film. I bavi se fotografijom, diriguje. Tako, to je retkost. To je retkost, mislim, izvanredno je to da ste u jednoj oblasti na svetskoj razini, ali on sve što radi fantastično. Eto, i to ga razlikuje od svih ostalih.
Vidjeli smo vašu vrlo zanimljivu biografiju, vaše sjajne uspjehe i dosege. Ja bih malo na vaš nekako život. Rođeni ste u Argentini, iz Argentine ste jednom času došli u Europu, izabrali ste Italiju. Zašto baš Italiju? I zašto ste otišli iz Argentine?
Well, it's a very long subject of conversation. So one thing at a time. First of all, I left Argentina in the early 80s when having a future as a musician, as an opera singer, as a composer was nearly impossible. So I left Argentina for the same reason that immigrants go from here to there. I mean, some immigrants do it because they're running away from war. Some immigrants are running away from hunger. I was not running away from my country, of course not. I was just looking for a better future for my kind of job. And coming to Europe was more logical, because even if you find one job in South America, it's we don't have a theater in every town like in Europe. Mostly the Europe of the 90s. Now in the last 30 years, of course, a lot of things have changed and everything is different. And in the last year and a half, because of COVID, everything is completely different.
Yes.
So the conversation now needs to be reorganized and reset. But okay, in that time it was like that 30 years ago. And I went to Italy because 90% of the Argentinians or have Italian or have Spanish. So I went to Italy trying to find the origins of my family.
Your origin from Italy?
One of my grandparents was from Piemonte. From Piemonte, and I went to find. I couldn't find anybody at the time. Everybody refused, of course, having to do with my family. And I don't know if it was true or not, but well, I understand. And so then we stayed in Italy, trying to find work. I began to work in Italy. But then at the time, we're talking about 30 years ago, it was the beginning of a political conflict in Italy. Then was problems with the immigrants. I was an immigrant at the time, and etc., etc. So it's not a subject really very nice to remember, and it's not very nice to talk about in cameras. But I had to leave to go to live somewhere else because of the immigrations law of the time. And it was very funny because they said if you want to stay, you have to make yourself a contract, a long-term contract. And I said, we artists are freelance artists. You don't get a long-term contract. You finish your contract in La Scala, then you have 1 week free or 2 weeks free, then you go to another theater and so on. Yeah. And this was not possible with the law of the time, so I moved to France. We lived 5 years near to Paris. And after 5 years of rain every day or nearly every day, like it's in Paris, we said, okay, that's enough rain. We need to find sun. We are Latinos, we are people from the sun. We need to find sun before we become crazy. So we moved to Madrid in 1999 and we are living there since 1999, 22 years now.
1997. ste prvi put nastupili u Milanskoj Skali i to je u životu, ja bih rekla, svakog pjevača tog formata na neki način kao neki inauguracijski koncert, kao prekretnica. Je li to istina? Je li to toliko bitno da se nastupi u jednoj pravoj roli u Skali? I nakon toga je zapravo sve krenulo.
No. Before that, much before that, my real thing began, and was the turning point was Covent Garden in 1995, which maybe doesn't have the romantic story and folklore behind like Scala, but in this era, at least 30 years ago or 25 years ago, it was a much stronger window. Covent Garden Metropolitan, much stronger window, commercially talking, and my big career, let's say, started in Covent Garden in 1995, because I went in the theater to perform an opera, and after the second performance, I already had a contract with Warner Classics for recordings. It was completely other planet. We didn't have the internet we have today. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have platforms, Spotify's and things like that. It was about recording, doing a real record, selling the product, saying the hard copy of the product. It was another planet. Everything was, I have sometimes
another time, yes.
Sometimes the feeling that I'm talking about something happened 100 years ago and it happens only 20 years ago.
Yes.
So it was not that, but yes, I have great souvenirs from my debut in Scala, of course.
Interesantno je, dakle, kako danas onda operni pjevači postaju zvijezde. Da li uopće imamo te mlade generacije koje se na taj način čeliče, da tako kažem, i stvaraju karijeru, ili se tako stavi nešto na YouTube, na internet i preko noći ste u milijunima pogleda? Vama je bilo teže?
That's a critical question. Do we have 3 hours to talk about it? It's a critical question, of course, and it's and the answer is not so easy. There's one answer, and of course, is that internet allows an artist in general, not only an opera singer, but any kind of artist, any kind of person, to be known by a lot of other people before having something real to offer, which is a very dangerous thing, mostly for the artist, because you are in the show business, and you know what I mean when I say this. When you sell a product, we are artists, but we are also products. Okay, an actor is a product. If you have a name on the screen in a movie, you may sell much more tickets for the movies than if you don't have a name, etc. We are products. It's a business. It's a great business that we do with something we love. It's music, it's art, it's acting. It's a joy, it's a privilege to work in this business, but it's still a business. I mean, this is not kindergarten, this is not just, okay? So we are products, and when you are a product, you have to be sure that the product you sell can endure the time, can resist the test of the audience for a long time, and not that it's an overnight product, as you said before. A product that the day before was completely unknown, the day after is super famous, and 2 days after is finished. This is not a good product, because nobody can make business with this product. The way of making business with the product is the product is long-lasting in time, for enough time to recover the investment. Yes. It's a tricky conversation. I hope that people can follow what I'm trying to say, but it applies to everything. If you make a car, a great car, that is beautiful to watch, you sell this car, and the first time the guy goes in the street, the car breaks, or it doesn't stop in a red light, or you have an accident,
yes,
then the car is completely useless. And the same happens today, thanks, unfortunately, to the easy way we can become famous. We can become notorious, celebrities, this funny word, celebrity.
To nova riječ, new word.
No, celebrity is an old word. It comes from the Greek, and it means something that is repeatedly visited. That's a celebrity. If you come to this bench every day after lunch, that bench is a celebrated place for you, because you repeat it. So a person that you watch and you follow and you see again and again and again becomes a celebrity, because you visit it again, you watch it again, you are in contact all the time. But this doesn't mean that if you come to this bench every day, the bench is great. It's you that come to the bench, but the bench maybe is not a good bench. And the problem with fame is that today people become much more celebrate, much famous than the product they have to offer. And the problem with this is great in a way, because you have the chance to earn your living with your product. But the pressure is very big, because once you have sold the product, then you have to demonstrate to people that that product that you say is so good is really good.
To je velika tema.
And there is where the problem starts.
Yeah.
It's not about talent. We have a lot of young talented people. I do a lot of master classes. I work with young people. It's amazing the number of great voices, talented people. But it's dangerous that they go under the pressure of this machine, which is a machine of pressure. The show business is a pressure machine. They go under the pressure before being strong enough to resist that pressure. And so while you have a talent, you destroy the talent in today's, and it's a pity because you never know if that talent could have been maybe a great artist. It's a very dangerous balance today.
Vi ste međutim imali sasvim drugi put, svestrana ste osoba, dakle kompoziciju, dirigent ste, scenograf, redatelj, čak i fotograf i paralelno gradite nekoliko karijera. Danas zapravo toga nema, ljudi su onako prilično usmjereni na jedno. Recimo, zanima me ovo iskustvo sa dvije strane, dirigent i pjevač. S koje strane je teže?
I will tell you an anecdote I have, because I know you love anecdotes. So I will tell you an anecdote of many, many years ago. I would not tell you who was the very famous conductor in the anecdote to avoid problems, but I was sitting in the makeup room of a very important theater before a show, and the conductor, who was a very big name, came to the makeup room to say toi toi to everybody, have a good show, blah, 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 blah. And he started to make jokes. And everybody, ha, 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 ha. And he came to me and he said, Cura, he said, somebody told me that you are also a conductor. And he goes joking, you know, trying to put some pressure on me. He said, you're a conductor, you're a singer, how can you do all this? Is it possible? And I said, Maestro, you're right. And I think I will stop singing and I will only conduct. Because it's so much easier. And he went, aha. And it's true.
Aha, zašto?
It's true in
Why?
a sense. It's true in a sense. I can tell you because I do both things, of course. And of course it's not easier in the simple meaning of the word. Because conducting is a very complicated issue, of course, and you have to have many things in hand, and you're the leader of the group, etc., etc., etc. But there are great things that are in your favor. The first thing is that if you are conducting a great orchestra, once you have done your rehearsals, you are there just as a safety net, but the orchestra plays the same. And this is a very important information. Another information is that, and it happened to me, to conduct with 39 degrees of fever because I was sick. And you just grab yourself in the podium to avoid falling down, and you go to the orchestra, guys, I am kaput, you play, I do like this. And they play, and if it is a great orchestra, of course. And so all these things put a lot of pressure on the singer. A singer is a very lonely person. Like it is a tennis player, or you know, you're there, it's just you, and that's it. And if you're not feeling good that day, you're out. Nobody's going to help you. When you play in team, play football, you're 11. If everybody is perfect, it's better. But if some today is not super good, the other 10 will work. It's teamwork. A singer is a very lonely person, and nobody can sing for you. If you are not feeling good, nobody else will do the job for you. You are in hell. On the other hand, if you are feeling good, it's miracle. And magic happens. So it's a privilege.
Je li istina da ponekad na koncertima dirigirate i pjevate istovremeno? Je li moguće da sami sebi dirigirate? Čini mi se da sam čak i našla neke snimke koje to pokazuju.
If it is possible technically, yes. It is possible technically, simply because when you're singing, your hands are free. So if you have some pianists conducting from the piano, you know, and they conduct with the head and they play, and Barenboim, for example, is an amazing musician, one of the best. And he plays and he conducts at the same time, and his hands are busy on the piano. So when you're a singer, your hands are free. Why cannot you do both things at the same time? The difficulty is not in doing both things at the same time. The difficulty is to be able to be a conductor and a singer. Because to be a conductor is not only to be there moving your hands, getting away with the mosquitoes, you know. It's a serious job. When you're doing things with your hands, there's a code of information, like signals, like that you're transmitting to the orchestra to obtain results in exchange. It's not that you just do that and everybody plays. I mean, it's not as simple as that. Even if people from outside that are not from the business think, why is he doing this? And I mean, well, there's a lot of information here, you know.
Također ste i sjajan glumac, poznati ste po intenzivnim i originalnim tumačenjima likova. Koja vam je najdraža uloga i kako se pripremate za nastup?
I have to tell you the truth, it costed me a lot of headaches in the beginning to have this original and different approach. Because I had a lot of people saying that I wanted to break all the rules, I wanted to change all the cards on the table, and why is he doing this, why is he doing that, and you know, and
Vi ste taj.
yeah, with every, because you know, we human beings, we are so elemental. When we see something new, the first thing we do is to bite, to attack, to bark. And then maybe the next day we see it again, say, oh, that's not so bad. And then 1 week later you go, that's good, you know. And then 1 month later you say, wow, that was so good. And it's the same thing. We are pathetic, but that's the humankind, you know. And when you're a young artist, you're idealist. And it's good that you're idealist. You have to be idealist. If you are not idealist, better don't start the job. Better don't live at all as a human being if you're not idealist. And you try to change things as everybody does, and you go for it, and it was tough in the beginning, and now I have people, it's funny, now after 30 years of international career, I have people coming to me and saying, I have to apologize with you. I said, why? Because in the beginning when you started, I was one of your worst enemies. Because you were doing this and you were, why is he doing all this? And now I see that the young generations are starting to do now what you started 25 years ago. So I have to apologize. Sorry, we didn't understand which was your revolution 25 years ago. Now we understand it. And that makes me very proud and also very concerned. That's why I'm trying to do master classes and to. I know that not everybody follows what I do, not everybody likes what I do, that's normal. You like this artist, you don't like this one. So, but what nobody can say is that there's not an honest work and an honest research and a life of work behind what I do. You may like it or not, that's another information. So now one of my greatest challenges is also to create, to inherit, to transmit what I learned to the young people, because I don't want all this to finish, you know. Just to move on with the formula. People say that I'm too generous and I'm transmitting everything to everybody. I say, why not? I mean, what, are you going to die and take everything with you? It's stupid, huh?
Da. To je vrlo, na kraju imate satisfakciju da neke stvari koje ste vi inovirali, koje ste vi donijeli na scenu se nakon puno godina u stvari prihvaćaju. Predlažem da sad pogledamo inserte iz koncerta koji je bio tu u Orebiću, pa ćemo nastaviti razgovor. divan koncert u Orebiću, inače vaše interpretacije su osebujne, dramatične, potpuno drukčije. Kad imate mladog pjevača, a nastupate u ulozi režisera, je li ta vaša izvrsnost i perfekcija koju imate na mnogim poljima zapravo problem za mlade ljude? Evo, rekli ste da volite prenositi znanje, ali možda ste prezahtjevni zato što zapravo puno znate.
I like you. Yes, because I'm demanding first of all with myself. But what I can promise you is I never ask anybody to do something that I cannot do myself. I believe the basis of the real authority is not to order people to do things, but to say people, I can do those things too, but I cannot do everything alone. I have only two hands. So please, you take care of this, you take care of that, you take care of that. That's the leadership, healthy leadership. Okay, you know what you're talking about, and you delegate into others the teamwork. Okay, this said, this applied to the young people. It's I don't take a no as an answer unless it comes from an honest answer. It happens sometimes that you plan a scene, an acting, a move, and then the singer comes and says, oh, I cannot do that, this is not possible. I say, no, wait a minute, sit down, look, please. And then I do it. Is it possible or not? Yes. Okay, so do not say no. I rather take, you tell me, maestro, this is tricky. In this moment of my experience, I am still not ready to do it. Perfect. Genius. Okay, let's work together and find another solution. But don't say no. Because if you say no, in 20 years, you will be still sitting in the same chair saying no. You know? And that's a horrible way of living. So if I try to transmit something to the young people, it's don't say no just for the sake of saying no. Give it a try. Go for it. And then after trying, you couldn't do it, say, okay, sit down again, let's talk. But please try first.
Ovo su sjajne životne lekcije. Vjerujem da će mladi pjevači, prije svega koji sanjaju o takvim karijerama, gledati ovu emisiju i imaju stvarno šta za puno naučiti. Prije svega o toj jednoj kompletnoj osobnosti, svestranosti, zainteresiranosti za život koju vi imate. Recimo, meni je interesantno da se bavite i fotografijom, što je nešto sasvim drugo, recimo, od ovog svijeta glazbe. I zanimljivo je da fotografirate zapravo slike iz nekog realnog života, svakodnevnog života, ne iz svijeta glamura i slavnih gdje se zapravo i krećete. Koliko je važno da je umjetnik povezan sa stvarnošću?
Well, I think an artist to begin with, an artist is someone who tells stories. An interpreter is somebody who tells stories. And if you don't live, if you didn't see the world, if you didn't see the pain, the joy, the hunger, the sufferance, if you didn't see all that, you have no information, you have no baggage. And how are you going to tell stories to others if you don't have stories to tell? You are repeating like a parrot some stories that somebody else wrote. To be able to tell stories, you have to live in all senses. You have to live, you have to know misery, you have to know everything. You have to really go to the core of life. If not, you will be on stage like a parrot or an hologram of yourself. But nobody will believe in what you're doing. For me, the best compliment when people come to my show, the best compliment is not, oh, how pretty you sing, or, oh, the line. No, for me, the best compliment is, God damn it, I believed. And that's great. When people forget that you is you and you are all of a sudden you're Otello, you are Cavaradossi, you are Canio, people forget. I have some people writing to me after shows saying, oh, we didn't know you were so disgusting. And I say, no, it's not me, it's the character, you know. But if I am who I am not disgusting, basically, you thought that I was disgusting for 10 minutes, you believed I was disgusting. For me, it's the best compliment. And that for me is the key of everything, but for an actor and for everybody, of course.
Što je po vama bitno, djelomično ste i rekli, ali evo kad biste morali sad napraviti neki izbor, što je najbitnije da bi neko postao pravi umjetnik? Što mora imati? Koje su to vrijednosti, osobine uz taj talent, uz taj dar koji ima? Ali da bi prešao tu granicu iz vještine u umjetnost?
That's the $1 million question, and if I would have a simple answer, which I don't have, I would be the richest man on earth, because I could sell this formula.
Maybe you are.
Or maybe I am. But I think there's a phrase I usually do use, and it's one of those great maxims of life, and it comes from Oscar Wilde. And the good Oscar, with all his British sense of humor, he said one day a great phrase. He said, "Be yourself, because everybody else is already taken." I have no idea how you translate that effectively in Croatian. That will be your homework afterwards, to put the subtitles or whatever you put on top of my voice. But be yourself, everybody else is already taken. That's an amazing thing.
Budi istinit, budi svoj, budi autentičan, svi drugi su već zauzeti. To je, znači, zapravo ta iskrenost, ta...
It's already taken.
Da, ta istina.
Yeah. Don't try to occupy the place of someone else. That room is already booked in the hotel, you know? Go to another room. The only way to be original as an artist is to show to the people yourself. Because if the only thing in which all humans are different to each other is in ourselves. Everything else you can imitate. But the real you, the real Tončica, you cannot imitate. It comes from inside. There's no makeup, there's no mask. Show yourself without mask. And one of the maxims of great acting is masks off. Here we are, here I am. That's why an actor, a singer on stage is a very delicate being, because you're naked. If you're honest, you're naked, and when you're naked, you're fragile. That's why it's so bad when people go to the stage, to a concert or to a performance, to boo an artist. Because you're booing somebody who is in front of you completely naked. You may like or not that naked body. If you don't like it, don't applaud. Just shut up, don't applaud, complete silence. But don't insult, because that person on stage is naked in front of you, showing the best he or she can do. And only just because of that, because of having the guts of going on stage, take off your clothes and show yourself for what you are, just for that, an artist deserves respect.
Absolutely. Živimo u dosta izazovnim vremenima, svijet nikad nije bio u ovakvoj situaciji. Vi ste onako društveno na neki način i angažirani, zanima vas stvarnost. Zatvorene su godinu dana, glazba je utihnula, čak i više od godinu i pol dana. Koliko je današnjem svijetu potrebna umjetnost i smijemo li pristati na to da je autoritet zdravlja jedini koji zapravo je vrijedan? Može li čovjek živjeti samo o kruhu i vodi? Koliko nam je potrebna umjetnost danas?
Well, is there any better answer to your question than saying after almost 2 years of pandemic lockdown, we come out and we create a new festival?
Svaka čast.
That's the best answer I can give you.
Čestitamo. Istina. Znači, umjetnost će ipak preživjeti i jednostavno ona se mora događati, ona je ljudima prijeko potrebna.
People needs art, but we have to be very clear on that, and it's a very subtle, and the line is very difficult. One thing is art, and one other thing is the business of art. These are two different things. One thing is sport, one other thing is the business of sport. So, art as a form of human communication is absolutely necessary. Because if not, we are not humans. Okay? We are rocks. The great thing of being humans is we are communicating. Now we are communicating with a form of art. The form of art which is the speech and the choice of words. We are communicating in a high level. This is something, this is a privilege that only human beings have. And music is another privilege. And painting is another privilege. And ballet is another. Sport is another privilege. It's a way of communicating also. And all this is sine qua non to the human condition. And there's no streaming that can substitute that. A streaming in internet, it's a good palliative for an emergency moment. But it's not a substitute for a real, direct human experience. It would be as saying that you have enough sexual life watching porno. It's an extreme example, and I hope this show is not being watched by minors. But I am not being unpolite. I'm being realistic. You cannot say I have a fulfilled sexual life because I watch porno links. That would be pathetic.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing that I say I have enough art in my life because I watch streaming. It's not possible. The human factor is necessary. I have to go to the theater. I have to see the people. I have to see the artists sweating, being afraid, being worried, crying together. When the high note is approaching and it's a moment of very big danger, or when the dancer is going to big a grand jeté and it's a big thing and it's very dangerous because if you land bad you can break, and that moment of danger.
I umjetnik treba publiku.
Exactly.
Koliko je publika
that
važna?
moment, that incredible, when the audience, when the dangerous moment arrives and the audience goes, "Come on, you can do it." That's amazing. That's a human factor. That's a human thing. You cannot substitute that with any internet technical intermediate. That's the end of the human communication, and that's what we need to recover. We don't have to follow in the trap. Beautiful trap during COVID, during pandemic. We had at least that, of course, thank you, better than nothing. But now we have to come back to reality, which is the human confrontation. To be like this, to watch you in the eyes, and that you know I'm watching you, and not to watch you on a screen. It's not the same. If we lose that, then we can close the shop and go home.
Maestro Cura, došli smo do kraja našeg razgovora. Hvala vam na ovom izuzetno zanimljivom i inspirativnom razgovoru. Hvala vam što ste bili gost Hrvatske televizije emisije o svom filmu.
Thank you, današnjice, and thank you to everybody. And please, please, please support this incredible initiative. If I am here or I'm not here, I'm gonna be here with you, okay? The Captain Towns will have my signature on it, and I promise. But if one day I'm not here for any reason, keep on supporting. We need the support of the public. We need the people in the area to feel proud of the festival, to feel proud of what we have. We need all the sponsors we can get. We need all the support from the ministries. We need. I am tired of thinking that we are starting something new. A lot of people will fight against it because it's we doing it and not them. So we need you guys out there. That's my camera. We need you to make this possible. We cannot do it alone, okay? Thank you.
Sigurna sam da će Hrvatska podržati to, jer velika je čast da jedan takav umjetnik dođe i bude umjetnički ravnatelj jednog festivala u jednom malom Orebiću. Tako da ja vjerujem da nas čeka dobra budućnost i vas, i mi ćemo dolaziti na vaše sjajne izvedbe i performanse koje ćete organizirati u Orebiću. Hvala vam još jedanput.
Thank you.
Poštovani gledatelji, pratili ste emisiju u svom filmu. Naš gost je bio slavni tenor Jose Cura. Budite s nama ponovno u utorak u isto vrijeme.